everybody, and welcome to Performance on Wheels. As we continue to customize my Ford Maverick into being the ultimate overlander, we have teamed up with MRT to check out their exhaust system and their amazing hood struts. If this is your first time tuning into Performance on Wheels, know that my son Austin, he's pretty much making us Maverick experts. We are the #1 Ford Maverick YouTube channel today, tomorrow, next year. That's because he has owned 3 Ford Mavericks, a lowered one, a hybrid one, as well as what is in today's video, the ultimate overland, the lifted Ford Maverick, the Lariat FX4, rough country MRT, big bad Ford Maverick is on its way. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button, because not only will you learn about the enhancements like the MRT exhaust in today's video, you're also going to learn all the good, the bad, the ugly about the Ford Maverick and all the other vehicles that we explore with you. Austin, it's pretty awesome that we're not like every other lame Maverick owner with a factory hood strut. That we're going to have to remove that, by the way, because we have MRT's awesome hood struts. If you like these, which there's no reason why you shouldn't like them, know that currently they actually come free with the purchase of an MRT exhaust system. The exhaust system, not only the one that we're talking about, they have 3 different choices. They start in the $500 range and go all the way up to $900. I don't want to talk anymore, so how about you take this over? Let's do it. So I went ahead and started with this MRT boxes that showed up at my house by unboxing them and laying them out on the floor to find out that everything that they sent me is extremely high quality and was packaged phenomenally. There is no way any of this stuff could have gotten damaged during shipping. And then I laid all this out to see that MRT is using the highest quality stainless steel, and their welds on this system are fantastic. I really like the way that the muffler looks with the MRT logo kind of engraved or embossed on it. It looks fantastic. I'm a huge fan of that. And just everything that they sent me was packaged super well. So once I got all that out and I laid it out on the ground, we lifted the Maverick up and got started with install. Right before we get started with install, if you guys are interested in purchasing anything off of MRT's website, use our code down in the description, POW 2024, POW 2024, Performance on Wheels 2024. That is the code. Get yourself a discount on some MRT products, including some awesome clothing, some exhaust system, some hood struts, whatever you're looking for. Be sure to check out MRT down in the description below. Let's install this thing.
Step number 1 with installing this exhaust, it is a very easy install, but ultimately what we have to do is locate the mid muffler, which is right here. You can see it right in front of the back tire. Now, in the very front of the mid muffler, you're going to see the exhaust inlet coming into the front of it, and there is a weld that is attaching the mid muffler onto the remainder of the exhaust. Right in front of that weld, we're going to go ahead and cut. We're going to make as even as a cut as we possibly can, and then we're going to remove the rest of the exhaust going back. From there, we're just going to simply slide on the remainder of the exhaust. We'll show you how that works right after we cut it. Just for fun and because we can, of course I have a Lariat here, so it means I have remote start from the key so I can stop it right away. But we went ahead and made the cut on the front muffler, so let's go ahead and remote start it and see how it sounds with, well, nothing on it. So I'm gonna get up there and just rev it while it was remote started. Gotta admit, sounds better than I thought it would. It has a really deep tone to it. Next step is quite simple. We just have to take off the exhaust hanger all the way back here, and then also take off the exhaust hanger right here, and then we just remove this whole portion of the exhaust system. There's also a hanger hidden right here in the middle, just so you guys are aware. Looking at the factory exhaust and MRT system right next to each other, you can clearly tell the much higher quality stainless steel that is used on MRT's system, and just overall how much smaller the new muffler is versus the factory muffler. And then you can also see how on the factory system, we just have a single exit exhaust, We're on the MRT system here. Since we have the dual exhaust, it goes into this Y pipe that leads into a dual tip outlet. So let's go ahead and get it in. Next step is we have to remove this little plastic clip here. I already started removing it a bit, but we just pull that guy right on out. And then we gotta pull down this cubby here, and it gives us some flexibility. We are looking for this bolt right back here, I believe, because we have to install this new hanger on here that'll rest, I believe, right in this section here. I'll have to check the instructions again, but I believe we just set it right here, and this is where our new exhaust tip's gonna hang. Solomon's got an 18mm bolt. He's gonna go ahead and remove it with the impact here quick. Then all you do is take the new exhaust hanger here, slide it right over that new bolt, and then just screw that bolt in and make sure you have the exhaust hanger positioned correctly. As of now, we just left it hand tight. That way we can go ahead and get the new exhaust in there and check out its fitment. When MRT sends you the system, they have another separate hanger that is specifically in this box. Then they have 3 other hangers that are included as well. The smallest hanger you actually install right on here, and then Solomon, how do we put this on?
Just like this. You ready?
So MRT side down, and it simply slides right on over the factory exhaust just like so. Now we just piece it together by sliding things on and get it all set up before we tighten it down. Once we get that muffler on, just so you are aware, we are eliminating using this hanger now, so we can take off that rubber bushing because we are adding that second hanger in the back. Then after that, we just want to install this secondary Y pipe just like so. You want the bend to be just like that so it comes out in the center there. And we are still utilizing that hanger just so you guys are aware. Make sure to install your clamps before putting these pipes on. And we went ahead and just put on one side's exhaust tip, and once again utilizing the factory hanger on this side. But there's just our first peek at what it's going to look like once we install the other side as well. So let's get right to it. There's that new hanger right up there. Solomon's just lining it right on up. As you can see, it just plugs right into there just like so. And then once again, make sure your clamps are on, line it up with the Y pipe, and right on in it goes. And there's our first look at how it looks with dual exhaust on the back of the Maverick. What Solomon is doing right now, and what the next step is nothing that we have showed you we have tightened down yet. We have left everything loose along this process. That way right now we can start aligning these exhaust tips and making sure that they're in the spot that we want them to be before we tighten everything down and make sure it's all secure. So it is a very easy process to do. Doing this together on our 2-post lift, being somewhat mechanically knowledgeable, probably took us what, 40 minutes? Yeah. I mean, it's honestly super easy. Super easy to do, very straightforward. So let's line these up, tighten everything down. I'm not going to record that. I think it's pretty boring. And then we'll lower it down and get some sound clips.
One thing I love about this video before Austin tells us about the factory exhaust is even though the Maverick is assembled in Mexico, MRT, we're like straight America. The home of Ford up in Michigan is where MRT is from. Austin, what's up with the factory exhaust?
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about sound. Now, I have put about 1,000 miles in this Maverick since I installed the MRT exhaust, so I got to experience both stock and MRT. The stock system on the Ford Maverick is nothing special at all. You can hardly tell that it is running. It's just... That's it. You can hardly tell that it's running. From the outside, you can kind of hear a little purr from it. And at full throttle, it makes kind of a weird like sucking or intake noise from the exhaust. But however, when you put the MRT in, I was not expecting this whatsoever. I really was not. I was a little bit worried about how this 4-cylinder EcoBoost would sound. A lot of people are. Now, when I install an exhaust system, my favorite thing is usually wide open throttle, getting after it, just flooring it everywhere I go, and it just sounds fantastic. Now, here's what's different about the MRT system. I love it, just driving around town. Just basic daily driving. I was not expecting this system to sound what it sounds like. Now, it is very tame. It's not obnoxious by any means. This is a great, great daily driver system. You're not gonna wake up your neighbors from a cold start or anything like that, or even coming home late. But it does sound really good, and it is, I mean, it's a lot louder. There's no doubt about it. It's a lot louder, but it's not obnoxious by any means. It just sounds really dang good.
Let me elaborate on that. I wasn't involved in the install. I was off doing bigger and better things in some other state.
Yep.
I think I was like hiking in Arkansas or something cool. But anyways, when I got to experience the exhaust for the first time, I was actually behind you driving somewhere. And I was kind of waiting for this obnoxious, loud sound that I was just like, oh, yeah, that's my son, right, in the annoying car. And that's not what I experienced at all. I experienced an enhancement to the Maverick, and it's not only that way from the outside, it's also that way from the inside. So it like adds to the experience of being in the Maverick and just driving it around town, like Austin's saying. And from the outside, there's enough noise there to make people like, whoa, what's that?
Also, just so you guys don't have my opinion and my dad's opinion only, I went ahead and drove this to my work. I work at a Ford dealership, and I showed it around to a bunch of my coworkers to get their thoughts on the MRT exhaust system. I had a couple of managers that were out walking around when I pulled up who heard me pull up, and they came up to me and said that actually sounds better than the Ford Raptor stock exhaust. The 3.5, obviously not the Raptor R, but it sounds better than a Raptor in their opinion, which is pretty cool. I gave my coworkers rides that own some Mavericks, and all of them were quite pleasantly surprised on the sound that it made when cruising around town. They did think that it sounded pretty dang cool. Now, when the Maverick was stock, it did make this weird sucking noise, and I think that's, of course, just the 2-liter motor. Now, with the MRT exhaust system, that sound did not go away, and at full throttle, it does kind of sound like a plane or a jet, and of course, that has nothing to do with their exhaust system. That has to do with the sound of the 2-liter. That way you guys are just aware. I do not think this sounds fantastic at full throttle, but once again, that's the motor, and I never floor this thing anyway. It's my daily driver. But the overall driving it around town is amazing. Like, it's fantastic. Everything before Redline is phenomenal. I could not be happier with the exhaust system.
Check out that cab light from last fit. Those are pretty incredible. And also, take note of your antenna, young man. If you put bigger tires on this, you're going to take your darn antenna off with the lift in the garage. So be prepared for the upcoming video when Austin takes off his antenna on his Ford Maverick in my garage and tries to blame me somehow. This is the best view of the MRT exhaust right here.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the way that the MRT looks. This, of course, is their most expensive system. The dual tip in the blackout package, which is around $900. And it honestly is worth it. I don't know if you guys could tell from those sound clips. I'm sorry, we're not audio junkies. I don't have really expensive microphones, but I tried my absolute best to capture the sound that the Ford Maverick produces. And I must admit, I am thoroughly pleased. Now, a lot of people are going to have questions about drone. Yeah, it has drone. However, this has been one of the first exhaust systems where I enjoy the drone, because the drone like enhances the interior sound. It does not affect conversations at all. It does not affect my head or give me a headache or anything like that. It's just a really nice tone coming from the back end of this thing. And then even on road trips, so like I said, I put about 1,000 miles on this Maverick, including road trips that I've had it on cruise control, about 70 to 80 miles an hour. And at those speed ranges, there's practically just this tiny little tone coming from the back end of the Maverick. It would not affect you at all. It doesn't affect your music, doesn't affect your passengers. All the passengers that I've had in it have actually commented that it sounds really good, and I even haven't told any of them that it had an exhaust system. So some of them have just said that outright.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun.
It's fun that it just adds to the experience, and we mentioned that before already. But yeah, I had a little chuckle there because I was remembering the drone when I had a Hemi and a V8 and how horrible it was where you actually had to shift gears. So it's awesome to hear that the drone is minimal, and maybe that has something to do with just the fact that it's a 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with MRT at all because it's a quality exhaust system.
It is.
What I would like to see from MRT, and maybe if enough of you comment down below in agreement with me, perhaps we'll read those comments and even add to the product line that they already have of those 3 exhaust systems and maybe throw a 4th in, and that 4th exhaust system could be for like overland or off-road oriented.
There is nobody on the market right now that has one of these systems. So all of the systems actually hang lower than stock because, of course, they show the tips off. Now, here's why my dad's bringing that up. Because of all of the exhaust systems and the way the Maverick's designed, from the factory, its exhaust tip is hidden. It's kind of up a little bit higher. However, in any exhaust case, no matter what the heck you do, you got to lower it to show the tips. Now, that affects our departure angle here on the Maverick, which if you're lowering one of these or driving it around town, it looks fantastic. I wouldn't worry about it at all. But I plan to heavily off-road this Maverick. Therefore, we need a little bit more departure angle every inch we can get.
Let me just explain the departure angle really quick. So if we're going up something steep, those exhaust tips are going to be the absolute first thing to hit. So it would be fun. It looks awesome the way it is, and it will look awesome on a lowered Maverick, and they have the systems where there's the single exhaust that look good too. But it would be sweet if they came up with a hidden exhaust system so that departure angle is not affected at all. Even like there's a spare tire down there, so that kind of affects it. Even if you like made it so you could remove the spare tire, came over the rear transfer case and dump the exhaust like straight down.
That would be even more, I mean, that'd be better than stock. So that'd be pretty dang cool if MRT were to make one of those. However, just the way that it sits with our approach angle and departure angle, as it sits right now, we can do about a 15-degree angle, but without scraping. If we go any higher than that, we're going to start hitting the tips on the MRT system, and that's a very aggressive angle. So anybody who's just driving one of these around, this is not going to be an issue. And if you're slammed to the ground, this system's going to look killer. I am a huge fan. I love driving it around town. MRT did a great job engineering the muffler and the overall exhaust that they put on this Maverick. I give it 2 thumbs up. I highly recommend it. It is not annoying at all. Great daily driving exhaust system. Don't forget to use our code POW2024 to get yourself a discount on some MRT stuff. I'm not going to show how to install the hood struts in today's video. If you guys are curious on how to install those, be sure to check out the link down in the description below. MRT has their own video, which is fantastic on how they install them. I think that wraps everything
up. It pretty
up.
much wraps it up. Remember, if you like free stuff for a short amount of time until February 14th of 2024, go over to our lift install video to get yourself entered to win a lift kit.
Thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you soon.